In this video, we're going to take a look at the new OpenAPI Overlay Specification. It's a new standard that lets you make repeatable updates to OpenAPI files, all through a separate file called overlays.yaml. An overlay is a way to add, update, or remove parts of an OpenAPI document using a JSON or YAML file. Instead of changing an original API document that you created, an overlay lets you make changes in a separate file, which makes it ideal for version control and workflow flexibility. Currently, 3 CLIs support overlays. There's the Bump CLI, Speakeasy CLI, and an open source project called Overlays.js. They all work in a similar way, letting you apply overlays to OpenAPI files right from the command line. So for the examples I'm going to show, we're going to use Bump, but the steps would be similar in any of these tools. Let's take a look at an example. Imagine we're working with an API that's just a standard to-dos API. The initial OpenAPI document has a very simple description: manage your to-do tasks and lists. It's not very engaging, not very fun, doesn't really tell us that much really. So we're going to make it more informative and create an overlays.yaml file. Here's how that works. First, we define the version of the overlay specification at the top, overlay 1.0.0, and then in the actions array, we can specify each change that we want to make. For this example, we're going to target the .info object in the OpenAPI document and update its description. We're going to change the description and add a longer user-friendly message that includes links and some markdown formatting. So now I'm going to apply this overlay using the Bump CLI by running this command. What this does is it reads from OpenAPI.yaml and overlays.yaml, and it combines them to create a new version called OpenAPI.public.yaml with the new friendly description applied. Let's take a look at another example. Imagine you've got an OpenAPI document that includes a developer's personal email in the contact info. It's probably not something that you want to publish, so we're going to use an overlay to update the info.contact field with a general support contact instead. Similar process, again, we're going to target the info.contact field this time, and we're going to update name, URL, and email, in this case to change it to a more generic support contact. Use the Bump CLI to apply the overlay. Now in OpenAPI.public.yaml, the contact information is updated to a public support contact, keeping everything nice and professional. So these are nice examples, but how does this work in a production setting? Since these changes aren't written back to the original OpenAPI.yaml file, it's important to make sure the overlay is applied consistently. One way to ensure this is by integrating your overlay step into your CI/CD pipeline. For example, you can set up an automated task to apply overlays.yaml to OpenAPI.yaml every time a change is pushed. The result will always be a consistent production-ready OpenAPI.public.yaml that includes all of the updates from the overlay. This approach keeps the original API file untouched, while letting you automate updates for any number of environments or audiences, whether it's localization, versioning, or contact info. Overlays make it really easy to keep your API documentation consistent and very user-friendly. Speaking of localization, overlays are incredibly useful for internationalization. Let's say you want your API description available in multiple languages. Instead of duplicating the entire OpenAPI file, you can create separate overlays for each language that you want to cover. Here's an example overlay that translates the to-dos API description into Spanish. This overlay targets the same .info object, but updates it with a Spanish description. With overlays for each target language that you have a scalable way to support a more global audience. To apply this Spanish overlay, we'd use a similar command as before. This will generate an OpenAPI.public.es.yaml, which contains the Spanish version of your API description. You can repeat this for as many languages as you need, all while keeping each translation in a separate overlay file. So there we go, a quick look at the OpenAPI Overlay Specification. It's a powerful way to enhance your API descriptions without modifying the original files. If you liked this video and found it useful, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe to the channel for regular videos on all things API.